Life is Feudal MMO is a realistic medieval sandbox MMO that simulates medieval life and gives players almost unlimited freedom in how they wish to play. The game just celebrated a big relaunch and is now available on Steam again. This video is sponsored by Longtail Games, so big thanks to them for supporting the channel and giving me this opportunity. In this video I want to give you guys my first impressions and show what you can expect from Life is Feudal MMO in 2024. So let's jump into it. Right after creating your character, you start on Newbie Island. Here you have to help various townspeople and can get familiar with the basic mechanics of the game, like woodwork, mining, fishing, crafting, hunting and such. Once you're done, you can take the ship to Abella, the main island on which the game takes place and where the real journey begins. From here you are free to do whatever you want. There is no storyline or quest to follow. I decided that I wanted to start my medieval life by building a small house and planting some crops. The game spawned me into a snowy area in the north. The environment looked beautiful but harsh, and I decided to walk towards the south to find a warmer place for my farming adventures. While making my way down south, I noticed three things. Firstly, the seamless open world in this game is absolutely massive. The little dot on the minimap barely moved while running, and I'm sure it would take several hours to run from one side of the map to the other. Secondly, there are not only day and night cycles, but the game also has seasons, and apparently it's currently December. So there's probably snow everywhere, and I'm likely running across the map for absolutely no reason. And thirdly, my hunger bar is depleting alarmingly fast, and I would probably die before I build my farm and wait for my first harvest. As I discovered the sea, I thought I could sustain myself with fishing while building up my farm. I found a nice place near the water and started building. Crafting some basic tools, chopping trees, sawing, gathering some materials and also flattening the ground. Terraforming the landscape is a big part of Life is Feudal MMO. It lets you create pretty much anything you want, like tunnels, hills and even islands. Fishing turned out to be really chill. It's super fast and easy to catch fish in this game. And since I built directly near the water, I thought maybe I don't need to take on the hardship of being a farmer and instead just live off the ocean. The farming system in Life is Feudal MMO seems to be quite sophisticated. The game has an in-game calendar that shows exactly when you need to plant and harvest different crops and trees, and when to breed animals and such. Now, for example, would be the right time to plant apple trees. Season-based farming is a pretty cool feature in my opinion, and has a level of detail I wouldn't have expected. From here, I wasn't really sure what to do next. A quick look at the skill trees gives a sense of all the possibilities. The profession system is very extensive, and you can be anything you want. A farmer, a cook, a merchant, an animal breeder, an engineer, a horse trainer, a blacksmith, a tailor, a miner, an alchemist, a bandit, you name it. The thing is, you cannot get everything from the skill tree. So, like in the real medieval world, it would be wise to specialize in a certain craft. In the end, I decided to opt for the weapon and armor smithing path. Being an independent smith sounds interesting, maybe selling my products at a trading post. To make my first weapon, I had to overcome a small dependency chain. I needed a bone to make a sewing tool, which I needed for a rope, which I needed to make a stonemasonry, which I needed to make shaped rocks, which I needed to make a forge and anvil, which I needed to make shiny weapons. Starting with the bone, it was time to find an animal that I could harvest. Yeah, maybe a smaller one. Okay, perhaps an even smaller one. The ability to read tracks makes finding nearby animals quite easy, and those tracks finally led me to something I could comfortably 1v1. I didn't have the skills to make a hunting bow, so throwing stones was my weapon of choice. Throwing accurately turned out to be quite hard, or maybe I just did something wrong, I don't know. From here I just continued gathering materials, chopping wood, shaping stones, mining some ores and smelting them, and in no time I had my forge up and running. And after some further mining and smelting, I finally held my first self-made weapon in hand. A simple battle axe. To make better weapons, I needed better materials and more skills. Different special materials are only available in certain world regions, and that's where trade and war come into place. Skills, on the other hand, level up passively over time, even when you're offline, as long as you have experience, which you can get from all sorts of activities. The first few levels of a skill level up relatively fast, within hours. The higher ones can take weeks or even longer. So long-term progression is guaranteed. You can also freely respec your skills. It just takes you the time to unlearn your old skills and learn new ones. I really like the approach of not needing to do the task that you want to level up. I have played games where, if you want to be efficient, you have to level different skills by doing absurdly repetitive tasks. I remember a game where I stood still and tanked thousands of attacks from low-level mobs just to level up my armor skill. In Life is Feudal MMO, however, you can do whatever you want and at the same time also level the skills you want. Before progressing my career as a weaponsmith, I decided to explore for a bit, check out the trading posts and look what other players have built. This here, for example, is a small player-built village that looks quite nice. I imagine these are quite hard to build and maintain on your own, so like in real-life medieval times, things are much easier when you're organized in a community, where everyone can do their part. There are many guilds in Life is Feudal MMO, as you can see here on the world map, and you can also create your own. After some quick research, I found that there are at least 2 newbie-friendly, English-speaking guilds in the game that welcome new players and help them get going: the Saltbringers and the Booterangs. Wandering around alone can be dangerous. There is not only wildlife and hostile NPCs that want to kill you, but there is also full loot open world PvP, so you could get killed by players anytime. Now, there is some game mechanic in place that punishes killing on sight: the alignment system. When you kill a person, your alignment score goes down, and players with negative alignment lose more points when they die, and they also have a lower chance of performing certain abilities. If you die out in the open, you lose the items you had on you and spawn at your house. You can also teleport to your house, but only without bringing your inventory along. Besides the open world PvP that happens for territory, materials, pride, and whatever else people are fighting for, there is also instanced PvP. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to test out the PvP, but it seems that it is a non-target physics-based combat system with directional attack inputs. The combat skills in Life is Feudal MMO are separate from other skills, so you don't have to choose between being a fighter and your civil profession, you can do both. The combat skill tree has 15 different major skills, from mounted combat with swords and lances, to heavy armored infantry with one-handed weapons and shields, to militia with pikes and glaives, to ranged combat with bows, crossbows and throwing weapons, to heavy-hitting two-handed weapons like Zweihanders, claymores, sledgehammers and such. There is something for every playstyle. There is also an interesting mechanic that gives combat bonuses when fighting in certain formations. And obviously, in a game like this, there is also siege equipment. If all this sounds interesting to you guys, I recommend you check out the link in the video description below, where you can get a 7-day trial for the game for free. As already mentioned, Life is Feudal MMO is currently celebrating its Steam relaunch under a new publisher. And with the new Steam release, there will be fresh blood and new guilds and empires will form. The monetization model is a subscription fee of $14.99 USD a month. This ensures the complete absence of any additional options to pay in the game. The game has no premium store, no paid boosters and not even skins. All content can be achieved only by in-game methods. Owners of the original Life is Feudal MMO on Steam will get 30 additional days of subscription. And players who have made any purchases during the previous Life is Feudal MMO round will receive special Life is Feudal coins that can be exchanged for a subscription to the game. Guys, obviously that short first impression video only scratched the surface of what Life is Feudal MMO has to offer. I personally had a good time playing this game in the relatively short amount of time I had with it. And I can imagine that if you get a group of nice people to play, each specializing in a certain craft, working together and doing some PvP, it would be even more fun. Again, big thanks to Longtail Games for the sponsorship. If you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for future medieval slasher content. As always, thank you all for watching and see you soon.